Hi everyone, welcome to this video. In this video, you're going to learn how to do arithmetic with complex numbers. So a few terms to be clarified. The variable I represents the value of the square root of -1. The reason why the square root of -1 or the square roots of any negative numbers are usually undefined is because when we have a positive number, two negatives, so like -1 times -1 would be a positive number, right? It would be +1. And +1 times +1 would also equal +1. However, we can't, -1 would always have to mean that there would be -1 times 1. So really, we can't have two of the same numbers multiplied to give us a negative number. There's always going to have to be one negative number and one positive number. So that's the whole idea of why these are called complex numbers. So okay. So again, restating it, I is equal to square root of -1. Okay, so I'm just gonna box that. So in the meanwhile, I'd like you to attempt these problems. That I have put to the side. If you guys are really stuck on a problem, or if you're just learning how to solve it, please feel free to skip ahead. Okay, so now let's actually get to solving our problem, right? So to solve our problem, what we're going to do is we're first going to select problem 1. That's this problem over here. So I apologize. Okay. So here we have assigned variables with certain values. So the best practice when solving and substituting variables is plugging in these values. So for example, we have W, X, and Y, these values over here, right? So before we solve it, we don't know what each variable is equal to in this problem alone. So we're going to substitute each value into this expression. So the value for W is 5 minus 2i and you're going to add 9 plus 8i, that's the value for x, plus the value of y plus 18i. Okay, there we go. So what we're going to do is we're going to simplify this expression, right? We can't really solve it because, again, I doesn't have a defined, we can't really simplify it. Again, we usually just keep it to simplifying it if we don't have any number like I squared or I to the 4th power, because I squared is equal to the square root of -1 squared, which is equal to -1. And I to the 4th power is just equal to I to the 2nd power squared, which is equal to -1 times -1, which is equal to +1. So unless we have I to the 2nd power or I to the 4th power, we can't really fully solve the equation. Okay, so to simplify it, we can first combine the constant terms. So that would be 5, 9, and 10. Again, the terms that I circled in maroon are like terms. So in the side, I'm going to write like terms. So what we're going to do is we're going to do 5 plus 9 plus 10. And to combine the remaining, we're going to do negative 2i, always include the sign, positive 8i, and positive 18i. So that's going to be minus 2i plus 8i plus 18i, which is 14 plus 10, 24. Negative 2i plus 8i. We can consider I as a like term. It's just a variable, so we're just going to combine it like a normal variable. So that's 6i. 6i plus 18i is equal to 24i. And we're going to factor out the 24 to get 1 plus I. This step is optional. So here I'm going to put factor. And I know that some teachers ask you to factor while some do not. So I'm just going to put a red star here because I'm not really sure if that's how, if teachers would like you all to simplify. But it's always a good practice to factor if at all there was a test, and it's usually a good practice to just make sure you simplify or factor to the largest possibility. So unless your teacher specifies that you should not simplify, do not simplify. Okay. So there we go. Now we're going to move on to question number 2. Let's just move right over here. Okay, so again, let's start off by filling in our variable values, right? So our variable values would be W. So that's equal to 5 minus 2i times x, which is equal to 9 plus 8i. Sorry. And then adding y. So plus 10 plus 18i. So this is where we have to get really careful with the way we're working our arithmetic because we're multiplying. So as we said up here, I squared is equal to square root of -1 squared. And since the square root and the square root cancel out, you're going to be ending up with -1. This will be very important when simplifying this problem. Okay, so moving on. We're first going to do FOIL. We're going to FOIL this piece of the equation over here. So foiling it would give us outer terms 45, outer inner. So first outer, sorry. That would give us plus 40i minus 18i, and this piece would be -16i squared. Make sure to never ever forget this squared, as it plays again a really vital role in simplifying. So the next part we're gonna do is combine like terms. So that's gonna look like this. And the reason why I'm writing out the justification next to each problem, each step that I take, is so that I don't get confused on which step I did and which step I'm on. It's just really easy. So combining like terms gives us 45 minus 22i minus 16i squared. And this I squared, we can actually rewrite as negative 16 times negative 1 because we've already stated here that I squared is equal to negative 1. So this is going to equal 16. So we can combine this again to 45. And again, be careful here because when we're multiplying by negative 1, it's going to be positive. It's going to be plus 16. So because this negative 1 cancels with the negative 16, and we're going to get minus 22i, which is in turn equal to 61. 61 minus 22i. Okay. So this is our answer. So make sure that you do not forget the square. I'm going to circle the square and write again because it's very vital that we remember this step. Otherwise, we may not simplify to our biggest, the most simplified form. So let's move on to question number 3. That's y plus x in parentheses plus w squared. Okay. So again, what we're going to do is we're going to substitute all our values, right? So y plus x, that's equal to 10 plus 18i, okay, plus x, which is equal to 9 plus 8i, okay, and plus w squared, which is equal to 5 minus 2i squared. So again, we have this square here. So I always like to make sure I circle my squares just to make sure I don't miss any steps. So on this side, I'm going to write a substitution. We got to do that for the previous question. So and I'm going to move this down and fill this up. Okay. And then the next step is to combine like terms or parentheses. I'm going to abbreviate to parent and combine like terms. And in the parentheses, we know that combining our like terms would be our constant, so our 10 and our 9. So that would be 10 plus 9 plus 18i. Because it's the same variable, we can combine those plus 8i's, right? I'm gonna circle that in orange just so I know. Like this. Okay. And what we're going to do is we're going to combine, obviously. So that's going to be 19 plus 26i. Right? Okay. So moving on is exponents. I'm going to abbreviate to x. I always like to solve these squares separately because they can get a bit confusing. So when we have this, we're going to do 5 minus 2i squared, which is equal to 5 minus 2i. 5 minus 2i. And FOIL, just foiling it, would give you 25. And then the next term would be 10i. This term would also be negative 10i. Forgot to mention that. And these terms again. So this would be negative 2i times negative 2i, which would give us positive 4i squared. Again, I'm going to go and circle my square really quick. So see this piece over here. Covered it up, but that's okay. Then we're going to combine like terms. I'm just going to abbreviate it now. Like terms. And then what we're going to do is we're going to combine, obviously. So this is going to be 25 minus 20i, and then times 4 times -1, because we established that I squared is equal to negative, and which is also equal to 25 minus 4 minus 20i, which is equal to, sorry, just trying to make some more space. Okay, so that would be 21 minus 25. There we go. So that is our square. So what we also have to do now is we have to add or simplify. So how we're going to do that is we are going to do 19 plus 26i plus 21 minus 20i. Okay, and now we're just going to combine like terms. So 19 plus 21 plus 26i minus 20i. And that is going to equal, just going to get rid of this question for now. And that is going to equal 40 so 40 plus 25i. So this is our solution for this problem. 40 plus 25i. For this problem, for the second problem, it was 61 minus 22i. And for the first problem, it was 24 plus 24i. And I realized that I didn't factor this part. So I think that we can factor this. So we can do 5 times 8 plus 20 plus 5i. I apologize. So these both are considered your answers. These two are considered your answers. And this is a singular answer because we cannot simplify. So if you guys have any questions, please feel free to ask me in the comments. So yeah, thank you for watching my video. Bye.